The Senate Judiciary Committee is holding a hearing on public safety in the wake of the Supreme Court ruling that struck down some of New York City's strict gun laws, struck down those laws. It comes as President Biden announced new executive action aimed at curbing gun violence. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze joins me live now from the White House, along with ABC's Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill to talk about this and more. Elizabeth, we'll begin with you. What exactly does this new executive action do?
Hey, Phil. Well, this executive action is really aimed at trying to boost background checks on gun sales. The White House says that it is the furthest step the president can take toward universal background checks without going through Congress. It also tries to boost gun safety storage laws, and it tries to call on gun manufacturers, calls on the FTC to look into whether gun manufacturers are marketing gun sales to minors. So really trying to get it kind of shoring up some of the existing protections that are in place, which reflects the fact that the president has continued to meet a dead end in Congress when it comes to a lot of this legislation. We know that there was a bipartisan effort passed earlier last year. The president's trying to kind of shore up some of the red flag laws in that with this executive action. But he has called for much further steps, like an assault weapons ban. That, of course, not going anywhere in Congress as of now, Phil.
And Jay, senators are examining the fallout from this ruling on New York's gun laws. What do they want to know?
Yeah, that's playing out today in the Senate Judiciary Committee, Phil. And it's worth noting, again, the Senate controlled by Democrats, which means this committee also controlled by Senate Democrats. They are attempting to highlight what they say is a link between Supreme Court decisions like the one in New York that obliterated the requirements for certain kinds of concealed carry permits, and saying that that makes Americans fundamentally less safe, not just when it comes to mass shootings, but also when it comes to domestic violence. Republicans countering that by saying that they believe certain policies have made Americans less safe from various prosecutors, policies that they call soft on crime and things of that nature. But it's also worth pointing out that this is really, other than passing legislation, the extent to what Congress can do here. You heard Elizabeth say that President Biden, when he was issuing that executive order yesterday, called on Congress to do something, an assault weapons ban, universal background checks, and that is something that has not just a steep hurdle in the Senate, which is what we saw when there was that bipartisan gun legislation last year, but also it has a significantly big hurdle to climb in the House, which is now controlled by Republicans, Phil.
Yeah, and Elizabeth, a lot going on in D.C. today. You're following this for us as well. Russia says it will try to recover that U.S. drone we've been talking about that was forced down in the Black Sea. So how is the White House responding? Because as I understand it, we don't really have a naval presence in the Black Sea.
Right. So what the National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby is telling us is that basically this is an example of reckless behavior, that there is an effort to try to recover that multi-million-dollar drone that was shot down, but that recovering it from the Black Sea is going to be a big challenge. And that's an acknowledgement that it might not happen. They are saying, the White House, trying to make the point that they're taking this incident very seriously. They say that the example of that is that the Russian ambassador was summoned to the State Department yesterday, but also trying to walk this line, Phil, of not escalating this so much amid the tensions we're already seeing, both sides trying to kind of put some blame on the pilot here from Russia while continuing to look at this closely still.
All right, and Jay, finally, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis facing some backlash over the last day or so for his comments on the war in Ukraine. What's the latest with that?
Yeah, he called Ukraine, supporting Ukraine, not a vital U.S. interest in a territorial dispute, but it's facing a lot of backlash from his fellow Republicans here on the Hill. Tom Tillis saying he doesn't agree with it. Marco Rubio, a friend to DeSantis, often considered an ally, saying that the governor doesn't deal with much foreign policy on a day-to-day basis as a governor. So certainly some Republicans coming out against DeSantis, but one of the most vocal pro-Ukraine support Republicans in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, not making his voice heard because he's still recovering from a concussion and injuries related to a fall that gave him that concussion, Phil.
Yeah, and as you know, it seems to be a pretty different opinion than he took when he was in Congress on the very same issue. Jay O'Brien, Elizabeth Schulze, thank you both so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.